Do you have any regrets on how it happened and everything that's happened since then?
I don't have any regrets with anything. I'm going to compete and play 100% hard no matter who it is, like I said, or who we're playing. No, I don't have any regrets.
It's official. Chennedy Carter's career is over after one reckless move. She thought she could get away with shoving Caitlin Clark, but the WNBA had other plans. Now, she's fired, her reputation is ruined, and teams won't touch her. So how did one moment destroy her future while Caitlin Clark thrives? Stick around. What happened next will blow your mind. The crowd gathered for a game between the Chicago Sky and Indiana Fever, excited to see stars like Angel Reese and Camila Cardoso. But then, Chennedy Carter shoved Caitlin Clark, leaving the arena in shock. The officials called it a common foul, but it was far from that. In the post-game interview, Carter didn't apologize or take responsibility. Instead, she brushed off the questions with an attitude that made teams rethink their interest in her. Talent matters in the WNBA, but so does attitude. Chennedy Carter's bad attitude toward Caitlin Clark was a huge mistake, and it wasn't the first time. Already on her third team, rumors of locker room drama followed her. The Chicago Sky didn't try to work it out. They showed her the door. No trade, no deal. The GM made it clear. She had an incredible season, but her fit no longer aligns with our vision. And that was just the start. Chennedy Carter's WNBA colleagues made it clear they disliked her. Angel Reese unfollowed her on social media, and other players didn't want her on the roster. Her attitude, not just talent, made her a liability. Now, an unrestricted free agent, she's avoided by teams, labeled a locker room cancer. Meanwhile, Caitlin Clark is dominating the league, and the drama has only boosted her popularity. She's not just a talented rookie, she's changing the game. Caitlin Clark's rise to fame started in college, where she shattered the NCAA Division career scoring record and won National Player of the Year twice. Known for her deep threes, clutch shots, and no-look assists, she made Iowa must-watch TV. In the WNBA, she kept the momentum going, becoming the biggest name in the league. Every game she played was a sellout, and she delivered on the hype with exceptional performances. Caitlin Clark's rookie season has been nothing short of extraordinary. She's the first rookie in WNBA history to hit over 100 three-pointers and record 300 assists in a season, with shooting efficiency that's off the charts. Already setting the WNBA single-season assist record, she ended her team's playoff drought while playing with the fearless energy that made her a college legend. Corporates and the sports world have taken notice. Clark's impact goes far beyond the stats. Caitlin Clark's impact goes beyond the court, reshaping the WNBA's economic landscape. Ticket sales, TV ratings, and merchandise are booming, with games featuring Clark averaging 15,000 fans. Her debut game drew 2.5 million viewers, surpassing many NBA games, and WNBA ticket sales spiked 93% in 2024. Clark isn't just a player, she's a movement, taking women's basketball to new heights. Caitlin Clark has accelerated the WNBA's growth by years, helping the league hit milestones expected in 2030. With record-breaking performances, multi-million-dollar endorsements, and influence on key decisions like media rights and player salaries, she's proving one player can change the game. Her success is elevating the entire league and paving the way for future generations. Caitlin Clark's story wouldn't be complete without her rivalries. First, there's A'ja Wilson, the reigning MVP, facing off with Clark as the future star. Their matchups represent a generational shift, and Caitlin is ready to take over. Then there's Angel Reese, a strong talent who has competed with Clark since college, but Caitlin outperformed her in nearly every stat, with more fanfare surrounding her games. With success comes criticism, and Caitlin Clark faced plenty. Many doubted she could handle the WNBA's physicality and questioned if her college success was due to teammates. But she silenced those critics, dominating the league and torching defenders. Her ability to perform under pressure proves she's not just a good player, but a great one. With Chennedy Carter out, all eyes are on Caitlin Clark. Big corporations are flocking to her thanks to the Caitlin Clark effect, and her success is lifting the entire league. Clark's rise isn't just personal, it's about paving the way for the next generation with bigger sponsorships, better media coverage, and greater respect for women's sports. She's proving women's sports can be as exciting, profitable, and impactful as men's, breaking barriers and forcing the world to pay attention. Caitlin isn't just here to play, she's here to change the game. Chennedy Carter faces an uphill battle ahead. With the WNBA growing, teams want leaders, not troublemakers. So, what's next for her? Can she make a comeback, or is this the end? Let us know your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more. Thanks for watching.
Please welcome to the show, Caitlin Clark. Caitlin, did you ever
What's
think
up,
you'd
guys?
be back? Cheers.
Excited to be
Cheers.
back. Don't worry. I got this nice throwback theater can.
Well played.
Caitlin Clark just surprised everyone in a way no one expected, doing it live on Zoom during an unfiltered interview with WNBA icons Sue Bird and Diana Taurasi. From the moment she appeared on screen, it was obvious this wouldn't be your usual heartwarming segment. It was unvarnished, authentic, and gave a behind-the-scenes look at everything from her transition to the WNBA, to locker room gossip, to the intense rivalries in those tough college games. And, of course, it all came with Caitlin's trademark wit and charisma.
Product placement.
There we
Our
go.
show loves it. Our show loves it.
So, what exactly did Caitlin Clark spill, and why is the basketball world buzzing? Stick around, because Caitlin didn't hold back on a lot of juicy details. Everything from Paige Beckers to Diana Taurasi, and even calling out the unfounded rumors Cheryl Swoops has been spreading about the team. Ready for it? Let's dive in. It was the moment that shook the internet. 1 year ago, Diana Taurasi stared into the camera and delivered a now iconic warning to Caitlin Clark. Reality is coming. Remember that?
What will the league have in store for them when they get there?
Look, SVP, reality is coming.
Okay.
There's levels to this thing, and that's just life. We all went through it.
Of course.
And you see it on the NBA side, and you're going to see it on this side, where, you look superhuman playing against 18-year-olds, but you're going to come with some grown women that have been playing professional basketball for a long time.
Fast forward to this year, and let's just say Diana's words didn't quite hold up. Caitlin's response? A sly smirk, a slight nod, and a confident smile. The vibe was electric, sharp, playful, and full of wit. But don't be fooled, it was also a statement.
Congrats on your retirement, D.
Thank you.
And congrats on
Now-
you.
Unfortunately,
Well,
reality is
thanks.
coming to me now.
What's your big plans?
in early.
What are you going to do?
I keep telling Sue I thought I was going to have all this time to do all these things. I'm more busy now. So if I give you any advice, play as long as possible.
We'll see. We'll get to 10 years. Then we'll think about it.
It's 10 years.
For Diana Taurasi, sharing the court with Caitlin Clark wasn't just another game, it was a moment for the ages. Looking back on their first matchup in Phoenix, Taurasi didn't mince words about the atmosphere. It felt like the last game that was ever going to be played. The crowd was electric, the hype was real, and it wasn't just about basketball. It was about seeing a torch being passed right before our eyes, she shared. Diana spoke with deep respect, reflecting on how surreal it was to finally face the players she'd been watching dominate college basketball for years.
What was it like for you two to play against each other?
It was amazing. I've been following Caitlin for so long and been watching her college career just in awe. And to be on the court and you know, the first game was in Phoenix, and it felt like the last game that was ever going to be played. There was such anticipation. The crowd was going crazy. All the people that came out to see Caitlin and you know, our teams play against each other. It really was an amazing moment. And you talked about how, you know, if you could play against anyone that is this new generation. So I got to cross paths with Caitlin, at least for a couple games. And to me, that meant a lot, you know?
Caitlin's perspective, just as classy, but with her signature edge. She remembered that Phoenix game too. Except for her, it was personal. We were down by like 10 or 15 and came all the way back to win, she recalled, pride clear in her voice. That comeback wasn't just another line on the scoreboard, it was a defining moment for her and her team. Battling against a legend like Taurasi and coming out victorious? That's the kind of experience that builds confidence, and Caitlin made sure everyone knew it.
And what it was like to play against D.
Well, I was saying, like, that game in Phoenix, because we only played in Phoenix one time, and it was before Olympic break. Obviously, we had All-Star there too, but it was a great game. Honestly, I'm pretty sure we were down like 10 or 15 and came all the way back and won. That was like our first like win versus a team that was above 500. So thank you. I appreciate that.
Beneath all the fierce competition, there was a deep mutual respect. The moment transcended being just another game. It became a clash of eras, unfolding right before our eyes. While Caitlin and Diana might be at different points in their careers, the impact they're both having, that's something that will last forever. As they laughed and joked about the experience, it was clear. This wasn't just playful banter, it was basketball's past and future coming together in perfect harmony.
Caitlin, how excited are you for this next WNBA season? New head coach and Stephanie White. You added Natasha Howard, who Sue knows really well, DeWanna Bonner, which I know really well, Sophie Cunningham. I mean, it seems like, you know, from the outside, this roster's ready to compete now, which is easy for us to say. We know there's a process to get there, but like when you see that and you see those names come in, what does that make you feel like?
Caitlin Clark is heading into the new WNBA season with more than just momentum. She's bringing the heat. When talking about her revamped roster, her excitement was impossible to miss. With new head coach Stephanie White, seasoned veterans like Natasha Howard and DeWanna Bonner, sharpshooters like Sophie Cunningham, and defensive powerhouses like Sydney Colson and Brianna Turner, Caitlin knows the talent on her team. But she's also aware of the challenges ahead. With 7 new players and a tight timeline to build chemistry, Caitlin's already in full figure-it-out mode, and she's ready to tackle it head-on.
Oh, well, I mean, obviously on paper we have a really good team, but, you know, you only have, I mean, we start training camp, I think, on the 27th, and then, like, we have a back-to-back of preseason games on May 3rd and May 4th. So it's like, you have a very short amount of time to put that together, and 7 new pieces, and whether we carry 11 or 12, like, more than half of our roster, like, that's, you know, that's a hard thing within itself, but we should be pretty good. And like, I'm excited about it. I think what we needed was, you know, we added a lot more experience. Like in the playoffs, we just didn't have that. We were a young group.
And it's not just her mental game that's been getting stronger, her physical game has leveled up too. When asked about that viral off-season photo where her arms looked noticeably more defined, Caitlin couldn't help but laugh.
And there was the viral picture that went around showing off your guns. Everyone's wondering, have you been hitting the weight room? Was it the camera angle? What happened?
It was
How did you do that? I've been trying to do that for 20 years.
AI is getting out of control. Come on.
Caitlin Clark wasn't just hitting the weight room to look good in a photo. She was preparing to become an even more dominant force on the court. Every hour spent in the gym was about strengthening her body to match her fierce mentality. It wasn't just about bulking up. It was about becoming more powerful, more relentless, and untouchable when the game was on the line. But Caitlin didn't stop at physical strength. She refined her entire skill set. She focused on adding a floater to her arsenal, powering through contact at the rim, and mastering the mid-range game. This wasn't casual training. It was a deliberate plan to evolve into an unguardable offensive weapon. Caitlin isn't just preparing to keep up with the competition, she's training to take over. Every move, every shot, was with the intention of dominating in ways we've never seen before.
Also, Complex has put out their 10 most influential women in sports. And Angel Reese is not going to like this because, well, she got beaten by Caitlin Clark for number 1.
Caitlin Clark did it again. As if shattering records on the court wasn't enough, she just scored another huge victory without even having to tie up her sneakers. Complex just crowned her the most influential female athlete, solidifying her place as the biggest name in sports at the moment. And the best part? She edged out Angel Reese, who, predictably, isn't taking it too well.
So, it's been hard for me, but adjusting and just kind of have that mindset of, just moving on has been something I try to give myself a little bit of grace.
That's right. While Clark is out here racking up awards, growing the game, and making history, Reese is busy scrambling for excuses, pretending like this honor doesn't matter. But let's be honest, if Reese had won, we'd never hear the end of it. Instead of celebrating someone else's success, she's doing what she does best, downplaying Clark's accomplishments while spending more time on TikTok than in the gym.
Announcing the top 10 most influential athletes right now. These athletes are reshaping culture. Caitlin Clark, check. Breaking records. Caitlin Clark, check. Proving their impact goes far beyond the game, from sold-out arenas to game-changing moves in business and fashion. These women are leading the way. If this is a top 10 list, then sitting on the top of that list, there's only one right answer. There's only one correct choice.
Let's set the record straight. This isn't just about an award. It's about who the fans are really backing. One player has everyone tuning in for her mind-blowing talent, and the other, well, she's famous for making headlines for everything but basketball. Some see this as a rivalry, but let's be real. It's not much of a competition when one player is actually winning.
What is your stance on that?
So my whole thing was when I got drafted, number 7. So I'm cool. The pressure is not even on me because I'm drafted 7, so the pressure shouldn't be up there. So I'm all right, cool. I can just hoop. So I'm all right, cool.
It's because you started killing it.
Well, yeah.
And they're oh.
I'm still a rookie. I'm still figuring it out. Trying to figure things out.
All right, let's break it all down. Why did Clark take home this award? What makes her influence so undeniable? And most importantly, why is Angel Reese acting like she got robbed? We're about to dive into the numbers, the impact, and the hilarious aftermath.
And Angel Reese is not going to like this because, well, she got beaten by Caitlin Clark for number 1. Yeah, so we're going to take a look at that. I think it's hilarious. I will tell you right off the bat, I don't believe there's a singular world, where Angel Reese should be ahead of Simone Biles either. There, I put that out loud.
Caitlin Clark didn't just break records, she obliterated them. 62 records shattered in a single season. Let that sink in. This isn't just about making history, it's about rewriting the entire record book. No player in WNBA history has ever dominated like this, and we're only in year 1.
My expectation is to be one of the best players in the world one day. I wouldn't expect anything less than that.
More history for the FIBA rookie.
At this point, continue to be myself, and I think a lot of good will come from that.
But here's where it gets even crazier. Clark didn't just put up insane numbers, she actually changed the trajectory of an entire franchise. Before she showed up, the Indiana Fever were stuck at the bottom of the league, barely staying relevant. Then Caitlin Clark walked in, and boom, they made the playoffs for the first time in nearly a decade. That's not just individual greatness, that's team-changing dominance.
The woman who's been putting women's basketball on her back for the better part of 3 years now. These athletes are reshaping culture. Caitlin Clark has men watching women's basketball.
Let's talk off-court impact, because this is where Clark leaves the so-called rivals in the dust. WNBA merch sales shot up 500% in her rookie season. Yes, 500%. Jerseys, t-shirts, memorabilia, everything was flying off the shelves. Meanwhile, Reese's jerseys just sitting there collecting dust while Clark's sold out in minutes.
This is a phenomenon. Caitlin Clark is a phenomenon.
This isn't just about jersey sales. Clark's influence is shaking up the whole league's economy. Viewership is through the roof. Arenas that once struggled to fill seats are now packed, but only when Clark's in town. Teams that used to beg for fans are now scrambling to expand seating to keep up with the demand.
So that's what they got on her. Caitlin Clark, she ran away with number 1. I don't think that should surprise us. She came away with number 1. Caitlin Clark is redefining the entire landscape of women's sports. That's right. Her dominance on the court has shattered outdated narratives about women's sports, proving that women's basketball can be just as marketable and widely watched as men's. But the Caitlin Clark effect goes far beyond her performance. It's reshaping the entire sports landscape. Clark's impact is undeniable. Her presence alone boosts the WNBA attendance by 105%.
Even sports economists are stunned by Clark's impact. Thayer Lavielle, a top name in sports business, called her a lightning rod for women's basketball, comparing her to Michael Jordan for how she's boosting the game's visibility and value. And honestly, she's spot on.
Because when we went to the WNBA games and we went to go watch Caitlin Clark when they came to play the Washington Mystics in DC, and they shut that they had to move the game from the Washington Mystics WNBA arena to the actual Washington arena where the Wizards played, and it was packed. It was sold out for people to see Caitlin Clark. That did not happen the day before that when they went to Chicago to play Angel Reese.
Let's talk real numbers. Clark's rookie season alone raked in a jaw-dropping $36 million for Indianapolis. Just one player did that, and it's only the start. Experts predict her rise will boost women's basketball's value by $1.6 billion over the next 3 years. Yes, billion with a B.
I'm going to look at this the way I did with Michael Jordan. Now, she's not the Michael Jordan of her sport as far as athleticism, playing, dominating. But A'ja Wilson is the best player in the game. Not even a debate. But I'm talking about value now. Value to a franchise, value to a league, getting your team in the playoffs. They had the number 1 pick. They were the worst team last year. And there is value that I can attach to that.
So what does all this mean? Caitlin Clark isn't just a superstar. She's a movement. She's doing more than dominating on the court. She's reshaping the entire league's future, bringing in new fans, generating massive revenue, and making women's basketball must-watch TV.
I'm talking about value. Michael Jordan was the most valuable player every single year because of what he meant to his team and what he meant to the league. And, oh, by the way, winning 6 titles. Can't argue with that. Caitlin Clark may not win titles. Las Vegas is still a great team. But the fact that she is doing what she's doing and at a very high level, you know, it's now commonplace where she'll go for 26 and 12. I mean, those are great numbers for any player, no matter how long you've been in the league.
Meanwhile, Angel Reese is still sitting there trying to figure out why she wasn't named most influential. Maybe if she spent more time working on her game and less time complaining on social media, she'd get that this is about sports.
This is about sports. This is about athletic ability. You know what I'm saying? And when you look at Caitlin Clark's game, who's very reminiscent of a Steph Curry based on her range and shooting the 3, plus everything else she does. And then you look at Angel Reese, stop it. Stop it. There's a dude on the internet who cracks me up. Or on TikTok, he's put together a load of Angel Reese clips. And it'll say Angel Reese part 36. And it goes, Angel Reese going up for another layup. She misses, bang! And I mean, dude, it's the funniest shit. And my whole thing is this, dude. She just seems as uncoordinated as a baby giraffe.
Caitlin Clark's journey to these awards might seem like a done deal, but the real story is way bigger. Remember Angel Reese? She was hyped as Clark's biggest competition, with the media pushing this so-called rivalry. It was framed as the ultimate showdown, a season-long battle that had fans hooked. But let's be real, was it ever really close?
Saying Angel Reese is better than Caitlin Clark is saying Rodman was better than Michael Jordan, or Ben Wallace was better than Kobe, or even Andre Drummond was better than LeBron. And I shouldn't have to point out that Angel Reese is actually a poor defender.
From the jump, the media pushed the narrative of 2 rookies battling for WNBA supremacy. But as the season went on, the gap became painfully clear. This wasn't a duel of equals. It was one player dominating the league while the other spent more time in the headlines than in the box scores.
Oh, Reese! 3-on-3, part 13, let's get it! Classic long two. Bang! PSA, no rims or backboards were harmed during the filming of this video. But viewers are encouraged to look away. Bang! What? Bang! I heard her say that she might sit out if the WNBA doesn't pay her what she deserves. I say $1 million for every missed layup is fair. Bang! They are stat petting queen properly. Fair wages for all. I repeat, fair wages. Remember, they're coming to see her. Long two, butter pecan. Bang!
Then came Rookie of the Year and First Team All WNBA, and that's when it all came to light. Clark didn't just win, she ran away with it. The so-called competition wasn't even close. As for Reese, she wasn't exactly graceful in defeat. Instead of congratulating Clark, she hit social media to claim Clark didn't deserve the honor. Imagine losing a race by a mile and then demanding a recount.
But her attention, her notoriety is based off Caitlin Clark. Because she wins the national title, first thing she does, she mocks Caitlin Clark. And then she doesn't even celebrate with her teammates. So she's made it personal with Caitlin Clark. Then she's played off of that.
But here's the real kicker. Clark's success isn't about trophies or petty rivalries. She's not out here chasing awards. She's revolutionizing the WNBA. Her impact goes far beyond basketball. She's expanding the game, shattering attendance records, and bringing in millions of new fans. Meanwhile, Reese is stuck trying to convince everyone she belongs in the same conversation as Clark. The difference? Clark is changing the game. Reese is just trying to catch up.
What A'ja Wilson just did was unprecedented. I mean, on so many levels. She's arguably, allegedly, the reason Caitlin Clark was assaulted the entire 2024 basketball season in the W. I mean, what A'ja Wilson just did is really like, there's no coming back from this.
A'ja Wilson's squeaky clean, positive vibes only persona just took a massive hit. And honestly, it's about time people started noticing the double standard. For months, she played the role of the calm, collected veteran while her fans were waging war on Caitlin Clark over the Nike signature shoe deal. But now, the truth is out. During the reveal of her highly anticipated shoes, A'ja casually dropped a bombshell. She'd had a Nike signature deal in the works for 2 years. 2 entire years, all while her fans were out there demanding justice, accusing Nike of blatant disrespect, and painting Caitlin as the undeserving rookie golden child. A'ja's deal was already locked in, and yet she kept quiet. She said nothing while her supporters created chaos.
Wilson was oddly silent, but complicit. All right, why was she complicit? Because, well, she knew she was getting a signature shoe for 2 years, and she let Caitlin Clark take all that hate.
Let's take a quick trip down memory lane. Social media nearly exploded when Nike announced that Caitlin Clark would be getting a signature shoe. The big question on everyone's mind was, how could they give her one before A'ja? That became the rallying cry. And where was A'ja in all of this? Silent, calm, strategic. She threw out a few cryptic tweets about respect, kept her followers guessing, and allowed the chaos to build. She knew exactly what people were saying. She saw the narrative unfolding, and she did nothing to stop it. Remember when she said this?
A'ja Wilson is her name. Quote, "It doesn't matter what we all do as black women, we're still going to be swept underneath the rug. That's why it boils my blood when people say it's not about race, because it is."
Let's be real. If the roles were reversed, and Caitlin had a shoe deal in the works for 2 years, but allowed the world to drag A'ja through the mud without stepping in to correct the record, she would be absolutely crucified. Articles would be written non-stop, and the talking heads would have a field day. But when A'ja does it, suddenly it's all smiles and, oh, she's just so humble. No, that's not humility. It's manipulation. A'ja allowed Caitlin to take all the heat, using it to fuel a sympathy campaign built on a lie.
Do you have any ideas what you would want your future sneaker to look like?
I think the biggest thing for me is just I would love a low top shoe. I play in a low top shoe, so that's something that I would love to have carry over and something that looks good. That's so key to me.
The truth is, A'ja Wilson could have ended this entire drama with just one tweet. Something as simple as, "My time is coming." "Don't worry about me." That's all it would have taken. The mob would have calmed down and the attacks would have faded away. But she didn't say anything, because staying silent worked in her favor. She allowed her fan base, and let's be honest, a significant portion of the WNBA media, to paint Caitlin Clark as the villain, the rookie stealing all the credit, while she played the part of the overlooked underdog. It was all a performance.
A'ja Wilson, who? Why? Yeah, she's some WNBA player, who? No, she's one of the all-time greatest players ever. Why?
And now that the shoe has finally dropped, literally, all those "how dare Nike." Warriors are scrambling to rewrite history, but here's the twist. The disrespect never came from Nike. It came from A'ja and the people around her who allowed the false narrative to spiral out of control. Meanwhile, Caitlin Clark, who's done nothing but elevate the league and attract millions of new fans, has had to take hits from all sides. On the court, on social media, from players, and even from legends. And through it all, she's kept her head down, letting her game do all the talking.
And these WNBA fans that did not want to see Caitlin Clark come in and do what she did, which was dominate the league. Led the league in assists as a rookie. After the season, I think I counted she broke something in the neighborhood of 63 records last year. Either rookie records or just flat records by anybody, not even a rookie. And all these fans have been mad. And all the while, A'ja Wilson sat back and was just plenty happy to play the victim. She could have come out and made some kind of a statement that would have called off the dogs.
Meanwhile, A'ja Wilson, who could have easily set the record straight at any point, chose silence. And that silence spoke louder than anything. It sent a clear message to her fan base. Go ahead, it said. Let them believe I've been slighted. It said, let Caitlin take the heat. And that's what makes this whole saga so frustrating. Because it's not just about shoes. It's about the way Caitlin Clark has been treated from the very start.
And so for Nike to put her in the position where she then has to go on social media and kind of cool her fans and like urge them to be patient and almost like defend Nike, it's such a disappointment, but it's not a surprise because Nike has done it before.
Instead of being embraced as the generational talent she is, Caitlin Clark faced jealousy and resistance. Not because she did anything wrong, but because she made the league too visible, too quickly. Her impact was undeniable, and instead of celebrating it, people tried to tear her down. A'ja Wilson could have been the bridge, the leader, the example, but she chose vibes over values.
How could they give Caitlin a shoe before they give A'ja one? Oh, how could they do this? How could they treat A'ja like this? Two-time MVP at the time, just before she even won the damn third one. They is wrong for doing this. You want to know?
And let's not act like the timing of that Super Bowl ad was just a coincidence. Nike ran a huge campaign celebrating female athletes and somehow forgot to include the most influential woman in basketball right now, Caitlin Clark. Clark, whose jersey sales shattered records. Clark, whose games led the league in viewership. Clark, who brought in fans who had never even cared about the WNBA before, but she was nowhere to be seen. Almost as if someone didn't want her in the spotlight, at least not for a little bit longer.
You want to know what I'm selling? I'm selling greatness! A'ja Wilson, 3-time MVP. We got Jordan Childs, we got Juju Watkins, we got Sha'Carri Richardson, and we got Arena Sabalenka.
Champion.
Hustling is not easy, but I love it. Sabrina! I know you want to cheat. Thinking about it? You're thinking about it. They're going to go fast. Kind of like Sha'Carri. I accept card. Where's the card? Come on.
Oh, wait, but what's in that box?
These don't come out till March. They may or may not be shirts, but if I tell you, I'm going to have to kill you. Oh, you want one of these? Nike.com. Who wants a t-shirt?
Nike really thought they could pull one over on us with that last-minute voiceover trick, as if we wouldn't notice. But fans are too sharp for that. We all saw it. It wasn't some editing accident, it was intentional. That awkward voiceover was essentially Nike saying, we love the revenue she brings in, but let's keep her out of the spotlight. Subtle? Not even close.
My favorite thing of all. So let's take a listen to this. Nike actually put this one out after the fact.
You want to know what I'm selling? Rookie of the Year, Caitlin Clark. I know you want a tee.
Okay.
Nike.com.
They re-recorded it. Like, that's not even. I mean that. That's like, listen to it.
And how does that make any sense? We're talking about Caitlin Clark here, the woman who hasn't just moved the needle. She is the needle. She's bringing in NBA-sized crowds, skyrocketing TV ratings, and completely redefining what's possible for women's basketball. Yet somehow, the WNBA and some of its most established names keep treating her like just another player on the roster. They're quick to cash in on the wave she's created, but when it comes to acknowledging her impact, crickets, silence, maybe even a little side-eye.
Not looking good for Nike yet again, dog. I don't even know how many videos I'm gonna make today about Nike, but it looked like Nike is definitely the star of the day. All started with the Super Bowl commercial, them snubbing Caitlyn, them putting Caitlyn in, them fixing the commercial, them dropping Asia's shoe. Now, come to find out, Asia Wilson has single-handedly killed the WNBA media credibility forever. Yes, oh my goodness, these women was lying. Oh God almighty. They made such a big deal over Caitlin Clark getting a shoe deal over Asia.
Let's be real. Caitlin Clark should be the face of every WNBA campaign, every endorsement push, and every highlight reel. But instead of celebrating her success, the league has chosen to simply tolerate her presence. She's been treated like an outsider who stumbled into the party and is now outshining the hosts. And that cold shoulder? It's not just coming from execs or marketing departments, it's coming from the top players too. Enter Asia Wilson. Asia didn't need to be openly hostile. She didn't tweet anything nasty or start a public feud, but she also didn't do a thing when her fan base relentlessly went after Clark the moment Caitlyn landed her Nike deal. Chaos erupted on social media, with people questioning Caitlyn's worth, her resume, and her entire place in the league. Meanwhile, Asia just sat there, perfectly quiet, perfectly strategic, letting the storm rage on while sipping her tea in the background.
It's that time. Harvest.
You
It's
guys,
harvest
everyone
time.
wants me to cry today. No way.
Have you ever witnessed a basketball star tear up over someone else's triumph? Well, Asia Wilson just did. The WNBA champion was seen in tears, but not for the reasons you'd expect. It's all in response to Caitlin Clark's emotional jersey retirement announcement.
I was like in tears, y'all.
You might be asking, what's all the fuss about? Don't players have their jerseys retired all the time? Well, not like this. Caitlin Clark's retirement ceremony is already setting records before it's even happened. Meanwhile, Asia Wilson's fans are crying foul, suggesting Iowa orchestrated this to steal the spotlight. But what spotlight? Iowa likely didn't even know when South Carolina planned Wilson's ceremony, especially since she graduated nearly a decade ago. We've got the facts, the timeline, and fan reactions that tell a different story. Let's break down why Wilson's tears are flowing and how Clark is once again changing the game for women's basketball. February 2nd, 2025. Don't forget that date, because it's about to become legendary in women's basketball. 2 players, 2 jersey retirements, but only one is stealing the spotlight like a supernova. Caitlin Clark and Asia Wilson, both revolutionizing women's basketball in their own ways, are set to have their jerseys retired on the same day. But that's where the comparison ends. Clark's ceremony at Iowa is generating a buzz that's completely overshadowing Wilson's South Carolina event.
Iowa taking on USC and Juju Watkins. Nationally televised game, I believe. February 2nd, 2-2, so it's 22. Everything about it lines up.
Let's talk numbers because they're crazy. The cheapest ticket to see Clark's jersey rise to the rafters is over $700, which is the most expensive ticket in women's basketball history. For some perspective, this price tag is even steeper than the cheapest ticket to an NBA Finals game. And if you're aiming for the best seats in the house, you'd better have a thick wallet, with tickets going for over $8,000. Meanwhile, you can catch a seat at Wilson's ceremony for just $25. No, that's not a typo. We're talking about a price difference more than 28 times higher for Clark's event.
But that is a supply and demand thing, especially in today's day and age where there's no such thing as a sellout, right? Where you can go to any event you want as long as you're willing to pay for it because of the secondary ticket market.
Social media is blowing up with reactions. This isn't just about ticket prices. It's a game-changing moment for women's basketball. The demand we're seeing now was unimaginable just a few years ago. Clark's final home game shattered records with tickets reaching $450. But now that feels like pocket change compared to her retirement ceremony. What's unfolding here is Clark reshaping the entire landscape of women's basketball. She's not just rewriting the record books on the court, she's breaking barriers off it. Clark has become a cultural icon, drawing in fans who might have never tuned into a women's basketball game before.
I'm leading scorer in women's college basketball.
But wait, there's more. This story is far from over. What does Wilson and her team have to say about this, you may ask?
One of the sentiments that was expressed was, oh, it's the same day as Asia Wilson's, how could you do it? First of all, I remember them announcing Asia Wilson was getting her jersey retired, but I didn't remember the date or anything. When the Clark news broke, I didn't think about Asia Wilson. And again, as is the case with Caitlin Clark, this only is going to bring more attention to Asia Wilson's jersey retirement.
As ticket prices for Clark's ceremony soared, another kind of inflation was taking over: online outrage. Asia Wilson's fans aren't just upset, they're convinced a conspiracy is at play. But what if the real story is even more explosive than they think? The social media storm ignited with Wilson's supporters crying foul over the timing of Clark's jersey retirement. One fan didn't hold back, tweeting, "Why would y'all retire her jersey on the same day as Asia Wilson? Are y'all stupid?" This sentiment echoed across social media, with Wilson's fan base feeling like their star was being overshadowed by the Clark phenomenon. But here's where it gets interesting. The timeline of these announcements tells a different story. Iowa didn't just pull Clark's jersey retirement out of thin air. They revealed their plans back on April 11th, 2024, right after the NCAA championship game.
And yes, Clark did get a standing ovation when Iowa's athletics director announced that the university will retire her number 22
that number
jersey.
holds a lot of weight, far beyond my name, and I guess I'm just really grateful, and it'll be a special day when that happens for sure. Thank you. It's been very special, and this place will always be home to me.
South Carolina didn't unveil their plans for Wilson's jersey retirement until October 2024. 6 months later, folks. Wilson's fans are saying they're not Clark fans, so why should they care about Iowa stealing the spotlight with their announcement? Why can't both players be honored on the same day?
First of all, there's nothing wrong with two schools retiring respective jerseys on the same day. But secondly, if you wanted the focus to be on Asia Wilson, she'll probably get more attention as the second, most recognized jersey retirement of that day than she would have if she had the stage all to herself on that.
So why are Wilson's fans so certain that Iowa is trying to steal South Carolina's thunder? It all boils down to the meteoric rise of Clark's popularity. Iowa's athletic director, Beth Gutz, put it bluntly, Clark's accomplishments have made a lasting impact on the university and on women's basketball. They weren't responding to Wilson's announcement. They were celebrating their own superstar. Now, let's address the elephant in the room. Why did it take South Carolina so long to honor Wilson? One fan pointed out the obvious. Why did it take a decade for South Carolina to retire Asia's number? How is that Iowa's problem? It's a fair question. Wilson graduated in 2018. Yet it's taken until 2025 for her alma mater to retire her jersey. That's not on Iowa, that's on South Carolina.
And South Carolina waited years and years to retire Asia's jersey.
The conspiracy theories are running wild, with some of Wilson's supporters convinced that Iowa deliberately picked this date to overshadow Asia's moment. But let's think this through. Iowa chose a date that aligns with a high-profile game against USC, featuring rising star Juju Watkins, which was already set to be nationally televised. Plus, Clark's jersey has been hanging in Carver Hawkeye Arena for months. Everyone knew it was coming. How could Iowa possibly know when Asia's retirement ceremony was planned? No one even knew about it until Clark made her announcement. This isn't about stealing anyone's spotlight. It's about maximizing exposure for women's basketball as a whole.
And then there was, Iowa is rushing this. They're rushing, or everything is rushed with Caitlin Clark. No, she just did things faster and garnered more attention and more notoriety and celebrity and celebration and popularity.
Here's what's hilarious. Some fans are actually asking for Wilson to move her date. One tweet put it bluntly, "Tell Asia to move her date." Then the face of the WNBA is retiring hers. Show some respect. It's a stark reminder of how quickly the landscape of women's basketball is evolving. So what's really happening here? Is this about disrespect? Or is it simply a changing of the guard in women's basketball? The facts don't back up the conspiracy theories. Iowa's plans were in place long before Wilson's announcement, and they're just capitalizing on Clark's massive popularity. But here's the twist. There might be more to Aga's reaction than just the jersey retirement itself. Is this truly about the ceremony, or could it be a deeper feeling of jealousy?
The reason why it really, really gets my blood boiling is because it's the exact same thing we see in every other sport. The games where she's not playing have lower viewership.
This has to be a joke. Sue Bird is the last person I'd imagine making these kinds of comments about Caitlin Clark. Seriously, Sue? The epitome of generational talent, someone who's witnessed it all, possesses an in-depth understanding of the game, and navigates the intricate court politics better than anyone else. And now she's behaving this way? Come on!
Some people continue to flip that. Those people, I've seen Stephen A. Smith talk about it. I've seen Shannon Sharp talk about it. And that's what I just don't understand is they work for ESPN. So why are you hating on a product? It's a business you're in. It's not that they can't.
This is getting unbelievable. Sue Bird, the WNBA's very own walking history book, has targeted Caitlin Clark. And trust me, it's igniting a lot of conversations.
And yet, we don't hear anyone on the Celtics and the Mavs. That is not how this works. It's because there's some players that are just so transcendent that the viewership's going to be insane no matter what.
Great.
And it has nothing to do with the other players,
Seriously, we're talking about Sue Bird here. She's essentially basketball royalty, yet out of nowhere, she launches an attack on Caitlin Clark, the young star who has been driving the league's ticket sales and viewership through the roof. Why? Apparently, it's because ticket prices and TV ratings have dipped since Clark's team, the Indiana Fever, were knocked out of the playoffs. But that's hardly shocking. Clark is a true fan magnet, plain and simple.
And to imply that we should just ignore the impact that Caitlin Clark had and still continues to have on this team, this league, this sport. Nah, it doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that way, Sue Bird.
Honestly, just look at the Golden State Valkyries, an expansion team that's already sold out around 18,000 season tickets. Clark doesn't even play for them, yet her influence is undeniable. Still, some people keep twisting the narrative. I've seen Stephen Smith discuss it, I've seen Shannon Sharp talk about it, and here's what I don't understand. They work for ESPN. Why are they attacking a product that's literally part of their business?
Stephen A. and with Shannon, there's an aspect of them like defending their stances on her. Like, we were right about Caitlyn and this is our defense. And I still think there's something twisted there because nobody ever said.
It's not that they can't express their opinions, but Sue didn't just mention it and move on. Oh no, she went all out, even pulling Stephen A. and Shannon Sharpe into the fray. And let's be honest, those two are renowned for their brutally honest takes on everything. So, what exactly is Sue Bird upset about? Is it Stephen A. and Shannon Sharpe calling it as they see it? It's not even like they're wrong.
I don't know how you explain, like, honestly, look at the Golden State Valkyries. It's an expansion team. They've already sold out, I think it's 18,000 season tickets. Caitlyn doesn't play there. And yet some people continue to flip that. Those people, I've seen Stephen A. Smith talk about it. I've seen Shannon Sharpe talk about it. And that's what I just don't understand is they work for ESPN. So why are you hating on a product? It's a business you're in. It's not that they can't.
Let's dive into the entire Bird versus Clark drama for a moment. Could this be stemming from bitterness? Let's be honest. Caitlyn Clark skyrocketed to become the face of women's basketball almost overnight. She's drawing massive crowds and achieving viewership numbers like no one else ever has. But then Sue steps in, casting shade on anyone who dares to acknowledge the obvious. The WNBA is struggling to keep pace without Clark on the court.
Sue Bird calls out ESPN host for, quote, hating on WNBA playoff ratings after Caitlyn Clark's exit. You say, what? Why? Why, y'all? Really? This is where we have to go?
The WNBA tries to portray its achievements as the product of collective advancement. But let's be honest, is Caitlyn Clark truly propelling the league forward? Without her, TV ratings drop, ticket sales plunge, and merchandise revenue disappears. The league should be going above and beyond to keep her satisfied, instead of clinging to outdated pay structures that scream, "We don't truly value you." Fans aren't oblivious to this nonsense. Social media is inundated with demands for change. People are highlighting the absurdity of her salary relative to her impact. It's not just a matter of fairness, it's a business issue. You don't underpay the individual who is vital to your survival. That's not only poor optics, it's poor math. Yet, the WNBA seems too busy celebrating minor growth to realize they're engaging in a risky strategy. If they don't evolve, they risk losing not only Clark, but also the entire momentum she has built. Talented players like her are rare. They're once-in-a-generation athletes who can transform a sport. If the WNBA fails to find a way to compensate her appropriately, don't be shocked if other leagues or opportunities come her way.
It's been interesting because since your article dropped, I gotta say, it has got all the buzz. If you are on X, if you're on Instagram, TikTok for the young kids, you know that Caitlyn Clark is the Time Athlete of the Year. How has your 24 hours been since the articles dropped?
It's been awesome, and just the reaction. Obviously, people so excited not only about women's basketball, but about women's sports, and how excited and deserving, not only myself, but just women's sports as a whole.
Caitlyn Clark just became the first WNBA player to claim Time's Athlete of the Year, but not everyone is joining the celebration. It's become increasingly clear she has her share of haters, from Cheryl Swoops, Aja Wilson, to Nalissa Smith, Diana Taurasi, and sadly, the list doesn't end there.
Cheryl, I'll start with you. What's your reaction to Caitlyn Clark winning Time Magazine Athlete of the Year?
I don't think I'm surprised. I'm curious to know who the other candidates were.
In a twist that's both startling and yet oddly predictable, Cheryl Swoops, four-time WNBA champion and now Clark's most outspoken critic, had plenty to say about the athlete's recent win. In today's segment, we'll break down the controversy, examine the backlash, and uncover the unexpected way Clark is handling it all. While Clark had the perfect moment to fire back, she chose a different route, leaving everyone utterly speechless. Here's why her response is a masterclass in grace and leadership.
And I've grown up a huge women's sports fan, whether it was basketball, whether it was soccer, whether it was volleyball, you go down the list. Like, I grew up loving it and watching it. So it's pretty special. Like, it doesn't really feel real that I get to be here, but an amazing honor.
Imagine this. Caitlin Clark riding high after earning Time Athlete of the Year. Yet not everyone's raising a glass. Enter Cheryl Swoops, former WNBA superstar turned unforeseen critic, stirring up drama on the Gills Arena podcast.
The fact that that's the very first WNBA player to ever win Time Magazine Athlete of the Year is pretty special. And my question is, like the criteria, is it based off of her performance on the court, which, yeah, she had a great year, or is it more about the impact that she had on the game this season?
Rather than praising Clark, Swoops launches into a full-on tirade, openly challenging the very standards used to grant Clark her title. "I'm trying to understand what the criteria is," she says, her voice laced with disbelief. And she doesn't stop there. Swoops rattles off a list of other contenders she believes should have earned the honor instead. The whole thing feels like a slow-motion train wreck, leaving fans and analysts alike puzzled and asking what's really at play.
This is just probably just the impact of the sport, a little bit of it's a little bit of everything, right? So,
yeah, I mean,
when you think about, you just think about athletes of this year.
Yeah.
It's her, the swimmer.
What swimmer?
For Olympics.
Katie Ledecky.
Her performance.
Shit, you know, put
in the
Simone Biles back in there.
You can put her back in there. Probably LeBron from his Olympics.
As we delve further into Swoops' remarks, a pattern starts to form. This isn't her first time taking aim at Clark. When Clark shattered the NCAA scoring record, Swoops was quick to downplay it, questioning whether the accomplishment was all that remarkable given how much the game has evolved since the original milestone was set.
Put Asia Wilson in there.
That was just basketball.
So that's what I'm saying. Was it just the performance on the court, or
it's global?
Else?
I think it's everything.
Yeah.
It's everything.
What about Wilson? She demands, leaving everyone listening in stunned silence. Is this just a careless slip, or is there something more simmering beneath the surface? Swoops' outburst lays bare a deeper struggle. It's not only about Clark now, it's the old guard facing off against the new era, tradition clashing with the future of women's basketball. Once the sport's leading figure, Swoops now watches from the sidelines as Clark captivates a whole new generation of fans.
It just keeps putting a light on the sport for everybody else to eat. And, sometimes, just as athletes, we are competitive by nature. And, we don't like when someone's getting something that we don't think they deserve.
The basketball world is left stunned. Swoops, once a beacon of inspiration for countless young athletes, including a young Caitlin Clark, now appears bitter and disconnected. Her remarks ignite intense debates online, with fans and players alike taking sides. Yet here's the ironic twist. While Swoops questions Clark's merit, Clark's star power only intensifies. Her record-breaking performances and swelling fan base speak volumes. The contrast is glaring. One athlete clinging to the past, the other blazing a trail into the future of women's basketball.
Well, it's been a crazy year. It's hard to think about. Like, I was basically just starting my senior year of college at this time last year. And then I graduated. I missed my college graduation, got drafted here in New York City, basically moved right to Indianapolis and basically start like a whole new chapter of your life instantly, and you don't really have much time to adjust. But lucky enough, I had a really great support system and family around, and I'm from the Midwest, so didn't take me too long, but this past year has just been amazing.
How does Clark tackle this sudden wave of criticism? Does she lash out, stoking the flames? Or does she remain poised under pressure? Her approach to this conflict won't just shape her legacy, It could help reshape the entire landscape of women's basketball. Buckle up, because Clark is about to reveal the depths of her character.
It's fun to reflect back and think about all the amazing things that I was able to accomplish and the people that I got to do it with. I think that's what's made it so special is I've had my family with me the whole time, my friends, amazing teammates, amazing coaches, and it wouldn't be possible without all of them. So just really fortunate.
Remember when we said Clark was about to show us what she's made of? Well, her response to the Time Award controversy isn't just surprising, it's genuinely groundbreaking. She's redefining what leadership looks like in women's basketball. While swoops cast doubt, Clark continues to smash records and win over fans' hearts. How does she handle the criticism? Does she shoot back? Not at all. Clark takes the high road, and that choice has everyone talking.
The number of Indiana Fever fans I saw in young girls and the way they were lighting up, I mean, you have represented something so special for the sport, but you've drawn eyes to a game that you've always grown up loving. What does that mean to you?
You know, it's kind of hard for me to wrap my head around because I'm so focused and so competitive, and I love the game. I love playing. I love being in front of the fans. But over the course of probably the last 2.5 years, it's all kind of changed where, you know, it's hard to get a ticket whether we're at home or whether we're on the road.
In her Time interview, Clark doesn't merely shrug off the controversy. She faces it head on with a level of maturity that's capturing everyone's attention. Caitlin Clark's rise to stardom has been accompanied by a refreshing sense of self-awareness.
A lot of those players in the league that have been really good have been black players. This league has kind of been built on them. The more we can appreciate that, highlight that, talk about that, and then you continue to have brands and companies invest in those players that have made this league incredible, I think it's very important. I have to continue to try to change that. The more we can elevate black women, that's going to be a beautiful thing.
But Clark doesn't stop there. She makes a point of recognizing the legends who laid the groundwork for her success. And guess who she gives credit to? Cheryl Swoops herself. It's a move that proves Clark isn't just an elite talent on the court, she's a class act off it as well.
Thoughts on Caitlin Clark saying she wants to use her platform to elevate black women in the WNBA have been instrumental, obviously, in building that league to what it is. Okay.
So what's the
Clark's reply? It's more than simply rising above the fray. It's a masterclass in handling criticism with grace, transforming a potentially negative moment into something uplifting. She's not just standing up for her own achievements, she's raising the bar for the entire dialogue surrounding women's basketball.
I remember my first WNBA game, one of the best memories of my childhood, and I think very influential in wanting to be a professional basketball player, wanting to be a great person, having those people to look up to and want to be like one day. So I just try to embody that every single day, and I feel like I have good perspective on, like, basketball isn't my everything. Like, yeah, I love it, and I get to do it, and it's given me a lot of really great opportunities, but at the same time, you know, win or loss, I feel like I try to be the same person.
The contrast between Clark's approach and Swoops' remarks couldn't be more stark. While Swoops questions and criticizes, Clark chooses to celebrate and uplift. This strategy isn't just winning her new fans, it's quieting her critics in the most impactful way possible. Don't mistake Clark's kindness for weakness, though. Her words carry real weight, and her actions speak volumes. She's showing that you don't have to tear others down to elevate yourself. In fact, by paying tribute to those who came before her, Clark is securing her own legacy in basketball history.
Know how you feel or how you respond to some of those criticisms when you have to deal with something that it's really not your problem. Like, I feel like it's them looking in a mirror a little bit, but it still comes down on your shoulders.
I feel like I always have had really good perspective on everything that's kind of happened in my life, whether that's been good, whether that's been bad. And then obviously coming to the WNBA, like I've said, I feel like I've earned every single thing that's happened to me over the course of my career.
As the controversy fades, one truth stands out. Clark's handling of the situation has transformed what could have been a divisive episode into a moment of unity for women's basketball. She's demonstrated that it's possible to be both a fierce competitor on the court and a gracious leader off it. But the story doesn't end here. Clark's poised response has paved the way for a much broader conversation. How will the rest of the basketball community react to this display of sportsmanship and class? Stay tuned, because the reactions are about to roll in, and they may just surprise you.
But also, I grew up a fan of this league from a very young age. Like, my favorite player was Maya Moore. Like, I know what this league was about. And like I said, like, it's only been around 25 plus years. So I know there's been so many amazing black women that have been in this league, and continuing to uplift them, I think, is very important. And that's something I'm very aware of. And like I said, like, I try to just be real and authentic and, you know, share my truth. And I think that's very easy for me. Like, I'm very comfortable in my own skin. And that's kind of been how it is my entire life.
Clark's triumph and Swoop's critique didn't just grab headlines. They sparked a wildfire of debate across the basketball landscape. Opinions are swirling at lightning speed, faster than one of Clark's signature three-pointers, and everyone wants their say. Let's break down the reactions. On Clark's side, a whole army of supporters has turned up. Fans are flooding social media with admiration for the rising star, applauding her poise under pressure and calling out Swoops for what they view as a bitter backlash. As one fan tweeted, Clark's response shows she's already a legend in the making. Swoops could learn a thing or two about sportsmanship.
And you'll never be able to make everyone happy. And someone that knows that at the age of 22, like, let's go.
I mean, I think I have good perspective on that. And like I said in the article, which turned out amazing, I thought it was great. I said, I feel like one of my best skills is just blocking things out. Like, I don't really, the only opinions I really care about are the people that I love, my teammates, my coaches, the people inside of our locker room, the people that I see every single day, and I know have my best interests at heart too.
How will all this drama shape Clark's future in the WNBA? That's the million-dollar question. Some believe the controversy might heap extra pressure on her next season. Others argue it's only adding fuel to her competitive fire, potentially setting the stage for a dominant sophomore year and maybe even an MVP run. But here's what nobody can dispute. Clark's influence is undeniable. WNBA ticket sales are soaring, and television ratings for women's college basketball have never been higher. Even viewers who've never followed the women's game are tuning in just to watch Clark play. The numbers don't lie. Clark isn't merely a player, she's a phenomenon. And she's redefining the landscape of the sport.
I'm just scratching the surface of the things I want to accomplish. And, you know, I'm 22. I'm still figuring out life. I'm still figuring out where everything's going to go. And, you know, I love basketball, and basketball has brought me so many amazing things. And that will continue to be probably my first passion and everything that I enjoy. And hopefully once basketball ends, I can still find things that I'm really passionate about and can do. Hopefully be an owner of a sports team one day, or open a restaurant. I don't know. Something fun. A little less stressful, maybe. Maybe a coffee shop or something. I don't know.
Clark's impact isn't just about one award or one controversy. It's about the future of the game. While some question the criteria behind her Time Athlete of the Year win, Clark's response, acknowledging the greats who came before her, even Cheryl Swoops, has been a masterclass in grace and leadership. Instead of firing back, she's elevating the conversation. Her style of play, highlighted by long-range shooting and raw motion, is inspiring young athletes to pick up a basketball and believe in their own potential. Fans are tuning in like never before, and ticket sales and TV ratings reflect her growing influence. Clark's authenticity off the court, making time for fans and remembering what it's like to be the kid in the crowd, resonates on a personal level. This isn't just about Clark and Swoops, it's about the entire trajectory of women's basketball. The sport stands at a crossroads, balancing respect for its legends with the rise of new stars who are redefining what's possible. Clark's story is bringing more attention, more debate, and more excitement to the WNBA. She's not merely breaking records, she's reshaping perceptions, inspiring a new generation, and turning the spotlight onto women's basketball like never before. As we watch Clark's journey unfold, it's clear the game is evolving before our eyes. Her rise signals a new era, one in which women's sports command center stage and future players dream even bigger. The sport will never be the same, And that's exactly the point.